Hello, brother teacher again, with a great question. What's your style? And is your style compatible to mine? That is an interesting question that I pose to you today because there are a lot of people who believe that they're equal to other martial arts styles and systems, and to include the ranking structure as it relates to that. Did you not know that there literally are thousands of martial arts styles and systems in existence? And there are thousands of kung fu styles of systems, hundreds of karate systems, and even hundreds and thousands of other martial arts systems and styles in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, all over the planet. There's over 6 billion people on the earth, so when you say your style is equal to someone else's, or that you can compare their style or system to yours to every exact detail and point, I tend not to agree because of the aforementioned. Not too long ago, someone was in conversation with myself, and we were talking about time that we had in the martial arts, and they compared rank, and they said, "Oh, we're the same. We were the same rank back in this day, and we're the same rank even today because of the time that we have, and we're not that much different." Even though the time that we came up or had known each other in the affiliation in the martial arts and so forth might be similar or the same, but our experiences are different. My system of Jinindo, which is my own martial arts system, and I created that in 1989, it is uniquely different and it is uniquely my own. Now, I find oftentimes when I'm out in public in the martial arts arena, whether it be a karate tournament, championship, seminar, workshop, or what have you, or clinic, as it were, when people see you perform and they see you discussing what your art is, they quickly want to take and compare you to the karate side of it. For example, if all you do is karate and you see a kung fu stylist, or you see a person who practices bagua or tai chi or some other art, especially something that seems similar to what you're doing as far as other karate styles, you automatically want to put them in that box and say, "Oh, that's this or that's that," and they have never actually studied those other arts. I think that's just franchising, if you will, and I think that's demeaning. Sometimes it's done obliquely, sometimes it's done in a covert manner, and oftentimes in the latter. And it's unfortunate that these people have ego issues, but it is what it is. But the purpose of this video primarily is to encourage those individuals that have ventured off into their own system of training, as it were. I believe firmly that we should explore the martial arts world and find what is good for us. You may start in Shotokan Karate, you might start in Goju-Ryu, Wei-Shin-Ryu, Isshin-Ryu, Chito-Ryu, or Shuri-Ryu, Shori-Ryu, and the list goes on. You might start in those arts, okay, and you might reach a level of proficiency or even master rank or even second, third dan in those ranks of those particular systems, that is. Who is it to tell you that you can't go any further and study an alternate art or a second or third art? Why is it that people are always trying to put you in a box and compartmentalize you and to place you in a category so that they can control where it is that you are? That's not good. It's not right either. Because if you study one specific art, that's your art. Leave everybody else alone. So if you study, for example, Goju-Ryu, and you see a person that studies Hung Gar Kung Fu, don't measure their Hung Gar on your Shotokan, because it's not the same. You know, I've heard the old adage or a statement that a punch is a punch and a kick is a kick. Yeah, that's cute. It has its place. Keep things in context, though. Uh, there's methodologies that's different. There's forms. There's historical reasons why things are done the way that they're done, and the way in which they're done is quite different in many other systems and styles. You know, it would take us to be actually God to be able to say that we're better than, or that our system is the same as, and to be able to dissect and break down all of the other styles and systems and say, well, this is the better art, or my system is better than yours, or your system is the same as mine. You know, it might seem like I'm rambling on, and it's not my intent to do that, but I'm trying to bring home a point. My system of Jinindo, again, I go back to that. I studied Jiu-Jitsu, Shinsai Jiu-Jitsu, Combat Jiu-Jitsu, Bagua, some Tai Chi, Taekwondo, Tong Sudo, Wing Chun, boxing, and a few other arts. And what I basically did was take all of the things that I learned that were valuable for me from a practical standpoint as it relates to self-defense. Let's get that right, self-defense. I am not trying to keep alive one particular art of the ancestry of someone who lived 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. That is not my intent. Do I have respect for those masters? Of course, because I wouldn't be in the martial arts had I not picked up some arts or some techniques from systems that I have already studied. So I am giving honor and respect to those previous masters and grandmasters of those style and systems. Howbeit, I'm not trying to keep the system of Tai Chi, whether it be the Sun style or the Wu style, alive for the rest of my life on planet Earth. That is not my purpose. Nor am I trying to keep alive any other style or system that I've studied in honor of a master that I've never known for the rest of my life. Some people do that, and many people in the martial arts do that, and that is their prerogative. Howbeit, for me, brother teacher Grandmaster Stroud, I am taking from what I've already learned and studied what's practical from a fighting standpoint, from a realistic standpoint, from a practical application standpoint of the things that I've studied, and I have cohesively put those things together, and I form my fighting system or my self-defense system of Jinindo. It's that simple. Now, for a karate guy to come to me, of course I've studied karate, and to look at me and say, oh, you've studied this and that technique that you're doing is done this way, and the reason you're doing it is for this reason and so forth, but they're trying to compare me to their karate style. My friends, please understand this, and I'm speaking for myself, and there's many more masters and grandmasters that are pioneers of their own systems out there who are present and those that are past. I'm speaking for myself. Don't try to put me in that box with you. I'm not there. I am not karate. I'm not kung fu. I am not jiu-jitsu. I am martial arts. Wherever you find truth in martial arts, that's where I will be. So if I see anything, if I experience anything, if I am taught anything that benefits me as an individual in my system from a practical standpoint, that is what I absorb into my system of Jinindo, and I use that as Jinindo. Jinindo means very natural way, and I teach my students the same. So whoever you are, when you're out there and you come in contact with a style that you're not familiar with or a system that you're not familiar with, just because it looks like a reverse punch, just because it looks like Ippon Seoinage from Judo or Jiu-Jitsu, just because it looks like Haragoshi from Judo or Jiu-Jitsu, just because it looks like Jujikatami from Jiu-Jitsu, just because it looks like Haramaki or Zenkusadachi, your stance in Japanese. Get to know the teacher. Get to know the founder. If your intents are honorable, ask them about their system and what makes it work. And don't stand off at a distance with a pen and paper or a cell phone trying to put them under a microscope and say, oh, that's this art, and what he's doing is this, and what he's doing is that. when in all actuality, you really don't know. And don't try to place them on your level or under your level, because all they're doing is this. And oh, that's just Wing Chun, or that's just Hop Guard, or that's just Tai Chi. When you really do not know, get to know the person, because you have to always go to the source if you want to really truly understand the source. So again, in summation, I have seen and I have experienced people who are always trying to compare other people's arts to their arts, not for the betterment. They're comparing it to belittle the other person, or to say that the other person is not as good as they are, or that they are as good as that person, or even better than that person. For example, they might say, well, I'm a 10th Dan in Shotokan, or I'm a 9th Dan in Goju-Ryu, or I'm a 7th Dan in Shurei-Ryu. What's your rank? You give them your rank, and then they start to try to dismantle and break down and disintegrate your system and say, oh, you're just doing this and you're just doing that, because of their ego, because they don't truly understand what it is that you're doing. You see, humility comes in here at some point as well. The intent of the person who's asking the questions. Are your intentions honorable, and you really want to learn that person's system or style? Or are you just trying to be critical and political and saying that you're better than that other person, when in fact that person might be better than you? Not that we should compare ourselves in that way, because we shouldn't. Because we should be our own individuals. Because if I'm studying Shotokan and you're studying Shotokan, and you're a 6th Dan and I'm a 6th Dan, hypothetically, but if I'm 6'9" and you're 5'4", we've already made a difference in what we're doing, because we're not exactly the same. Even though we have the same ranking technically, if I'm 6'7" and you're 5'4", and I weigh 250 pounds and you weigh 150, we have already made a difference in who we were. We were born at different times, in different places. We have different life experiences. We have different training methodologies, even though we might be studying the same thing. And who's to say if I add something to my system, such as Muay Thai, does it make me the same 7 Dan as you are? I think not. So my friend, that was just hypothetical. So for those people who are pointing the finger, trying to put you in the box with them, you don't have to be in the box. I like to be out of the box, because in the box, everybody can try to label you because you're in the box. It is the free-spirited martial artists who actually have studied real traditional arts before, and they've decided to expand beyond that. We are the ones that get more criticism versus the ones who study the traditional arts only. But you know what? Once it's your art and your own system, it has become traditional to you, because you have your own way of doing things, your own methodology. And just because you don't fit into the scheme of things as the other so-called traditional world is concerned, doesn't mean that you don't fit. It means that they have to do a little extra work to try to figure out where it is that you're coming from. And I use again for Bruce Lee as the example. They didn't know what Jeet Kune Do was. They talked about him. I'm talking about the traditional masters, Chinese and Japanese in Okinawa. They talked about him because he dared to defy the tradition and do something different. He said, express yourself through martial arts. You know, adapt or die. These guys didn't want to buy that. But it's funny, many of them have gone by the wayside. Many of them have passed away. I won't say that they've been minimal in the martial arts community, because they have been great men. However, Bruce Lee is still today the most celebrated martial artist of the 20th and the 21st century. If you go online on the internet, he gets more hits and results once you type his name in than any other martial arts system, style, or individual. Now you tell me, was he just an actor? Or was he a great martial artist who had a great impact on the world? So while you're out there, And I love all of my martial arts brothers, irrespective of what the style and system was, because I've studied Korean, Chinese, Japanese, and then some. But we have to stop pointing fingers at other people and trying to compare them to us in a way of trying to demean them and undermine what they're doing. Let's keep the love in the community of martial artists. Let's love each other like we should and respect one another as we should. Now, I'm not saying that there are not renegades out there in the martial arts, because there are many of them. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about what I said earlier and the whole pretense of what I've said from the beginning of this video. Stop pointing fingers. Keep training. Be humble and stay within your own bounds. This is Grandmaster Reginald Strauss Sr., also known as Brother Teacher. I'm out.